Officially, the crown has fallen. Not in a flurry of street glory, but in a torrent of unfiltered, unadulterated tears pouring down the face of an utterly shattered monarch. The worldwide hip-hop community has been utterly paralyzed by a startling, late-night emergency live broadcast featuring a visually traumatized Clifford T.I. On camera, Harris sobbed uncontrollably and declared the end of his illustrious 25-year musical career. The self-proclaimed King of the South hit his lowest point due to a brutal, matrix-driven industry-wide boycott, a totally botched promotional campaign for his last album, Kill the King, and the terrible betrayal of his closest multi-platinum supporters. This was not the deliberate, uncompromising haughtiness that supporters had witnessed for decades. This was the painful, hopeless breakdown of a rap icon witnessing the industry elite deliberately trash his life's work. In front of millions of simultaneous spectators, T gulped back tears. I am. Reveal the grim list of names, including prominent businesspeople and long-standing brothers who covertly abandoned him in order to safeguard their own multi-million-dollar corporate holdings. The true, terrifying truth behind this emotional execution will completely alter your understanding of loyalty in the music industry at a time when the digital world is in complete chaos. The last chapter of the Southern Kingdom is burning to the ground in real time, so don't turn away. You must comprehend the enormous legacy Clifford T left behind in order to fully appreciate the heartbreaking impact of witnessing the undeniable trailblazer of trap music reduced to tears on a live public feed. Harris Jr. built for 25 years. He exuded an unwavering regal power from the moment he left Atlanta's rough Bankhead neighborhood. He overcame federal firearms charges that ought to have put a stop to his freedom, topped international charts with multi-platinum hits, and remained untouchable due to his unwavering street credibility. His Grand Hustle business served as a proud testament to independent Southern rap for many years. A machine that demonstrated that a street-bred ruler could set his own rules and never submit to powerful corporate gatekeepers. His sudden emotional vulnerability shocked the culture even more because he was an ultimate fighter and resilient survivor who never backed down from a fight. However, the open arena he previously dominated is no longer the music industry of 2026. It has evolved into a sterile, hyper-consolidated corporate monopoly run by faceless multinationals, tech streaming boards, and secret algorithms that put total corporate conformity ahead of true artistic freedom. Following years of peaceful semi-retirement, T.I. returned to the studio with a strong sense of cultural duty to produce Kill the King, his final parting endeavor and ultimate masterpiece. With a major nationwide stadium tour, this retirement record was meant to be his ultimate victory lap. It was a magnificent independent rollout that celebrated his traditional trap roots and skillfully passed the torch to his sons. Although there was a huge initial organic response from fans, a cold, planned plot to permanently isolate the Atlanta Titan was already being hatched in the shadows of corporate boardrooms. A highly private, multi-million-dollar dispute over the iconic Grand Hustle master catalog is the origin of this systemic execution. Tech streaming services and elite major label syndicates were vying for control of his vintage music collection, but T.I. vehemently refused to sell off his legacy of independent music. When he openly denounced these corporate gatekeepers for trying to take advantage of renowned musicians, the Matrix retaliated with deadly, clinical accuracy. They suppressed his algorithmic recommendation data and removed his music from important playlists as part of a silent, methodical digital blackout. Then there was the violent incident that broke out backstage at the 2026 BET Awards. That street-level incident was immediately turned into a weapon by the corporate establishment, which used it as the ideal PR pretext to ban him from all venues worldwide. Cross-promotional contracts disappeared, stadium insurance coverage were rejected within 48 hours, and longtime industry acquaintances suddenly stopped responding to his calls in order to save their own corporate fortune. This devastating live broadcast was an inescapable, sad inevitability because of the severe financial chokehold and profound personal betrayal that created an intolerable psychological pressure cooker inside his Atlanta property. It was precisely 2:45 a.m. Millions of hip-hop enthusiasts sell one phones flashed an emergency notification on a muggy Tuesday night, instantly changing the course of modern music history. Avoiding his business distribution channels, digital marketing managers, and formal public relations team, T.I.A.M. had abruptly started a live broadcast from his personal Instagram account without any prior notice. When viewers clicked on the stream expecting another typical, combative, and defiant tirade against industry gatekeepers, they were immediately taken aback by a horrifying, gut-wrenching scene that left everyone in complete, horrified stillness. The only source of light in the pitch-black environment was the stark, unadulterated blue glare of a single studio computer monitor. T.I.A.M. For the first 3 minutes of the show, he sat squarely in front of the camera, wearing a simple black shirt, his head naked, and the expensive jewelry and regal clothing he had worn as armor for 25 years. The audio feed was completely silent. On camera, the rap mogul, who had maintained his composure in the face of violent street shootouts, high-profile indictments, and federal prosecutors, was clearly trembling. His eyes were puffy, excessively bloodshot, and overflowing with uncontrollable tears. His voice was completely shattered when he eventually started speaking. It was stripped of its characteristic aristocratic eloquence and reduced to a frail, frantic whisper that sounded like a man about to be put to death. "I can't do this anymore, man." In front of more than 300,000 concurrent viewers who were frantically flooding the comment area with absolute panic, T.I. choked out, a heavy tear streaming down his face. "I bled for this culture. I battled for the South's independence for 25 years. I placed millions of dollars into the pockets of men who had no money before I picked them up, and I created platforms out of nothing, but the matrix is just too large, dude. They actually stopped my operational skills, not simply put my retirement album on a blacklist. They quickly transformed everything I had worked so hard to develop into an uninsurable risk. I want my followers to hear it straight from me before they attempt to change my narrative. Tonight, I formally announce my retirement from the music business. Grand Hustle is closing its doors for good." The renowned artist was seen sobbing in public on a public video stream, which instantly sent psychological shockwaves through the digital world. The king is dead and the system won. Take a moment to consider the intense emotional impact of the situation. This was neither a staged performance nor a planned marketing ploy. This was the painful, hopeless breakdown of a cultural pioneer who witnessed the gradual erasure of his entire life's work by an anonymous corporate machine. However, as the broadcast went on, his unadulterated emotional breakdown swiftly gave way to a turbulent, tear-filled revelation of his inner group. T's hands were clearly shaking. I.A.M. called out his multi-platinum colleagues by name and exposed private, leaked text messages by holding his own phone up to the camera. Prominent personalities in the industry, renowned producers, and longtime brothers who had performed with him on stage for more than 20 years. He disclosed that his phone went dead at the very moment the business boycott coincided with the release of Kill the King. He revealed how his closest friends, men he had personally supported and elevated during his commercial heyday, sent him private messages clearly stating that they were so afraid of losing their own multi-million-dollar distribution deals with large corporate conglomerates that they could no longer clear their vocal features for his album or be seen with him in public. The first huge, scary twist of the evening landed like a nuclear bomb straight onto the broadcast, just as the comment section was breaking apart into an absolute coliseum of complete turmoil, wrath, and bewilderment. In the midst of a statement, as T.I.A.M. was sobbing while describing a private discussion over an enforced account freeze, the live video feed did not just lag or disconnect. An abrupt, forced administrative suspension of the feed was carried out from the platform's back end. A Chile official corporate placeholder message that stated that the account's digital streaming privileges had been severely restricted owing to an instant intellectual property and asset compliance directive replaced the abrupt blank screen. An anonymous whistleblower working deep within the streaming platform's high-level technical infrastructure disclosed a secure encrypted system log to an underground music industry watch network less than 20 minutes after this abrupt outage. The startling reality exposed by the leaked logs rendered the situation far worse than anyone could have predicted. Neither automatic copyright filtering nor a typical community guidelines violation had caused the live broadcast to end. T was automatically taken over and seized by a pre-packaged emergency judicial injunction that was implemented by a large institutional financial consortium. IAM. Real-time digital broadcast assets. He was crying on camera, but it was. As hundreds of thousands of horrified fans hastily posted screen-captured clips of his dramatic breakdown on TikTok, X, and underground forums, the hashtag #SaveTIJK surged to the top trending topic worldwide. Can you even begin to imagine the absolute horror of witnessing the manual deactivation of a 25-year cultural titan while attempting to expose his soul in front of your eyes? The internet as a whole started yelling about corporate censorship and demanding explanations from the digital companies that had so ruthlessly hushed a legend. However, a secondary, immensely more menacing discovery spilled out of a well-known entertainment law firm in Atlanta just as the public outrage reached a boiling point, utterly upending our preconceived notions about T.I.'s abrupt retirement. Suddenly, a validated, extremely private 30-page corporate distribution deal from his autonomous rollouts in 2026 was dropped onto an encrypted database for investigative journalists. The indie music world was rocked by the contents of this paper, which revealed a horrifying financial trap that had been painstakingly set up to destroy him. The final financial death penalty was hidden deep beneath Section 44, under a very complicated predatory language known as behavioral indemnification and corporate reclamation. The leaked contract clearly showed that T.I. had unintentionally given up his ultimate emergency collateral to an anonymous institutional consortium as a result of a massive multi-million-dollar bridge loan he had discreetly taken out to finance the independent production of his final stadium tour and multimedia endeavors. The clause stipulated that the controlling corporate entity retained the absolute unilateral right to seize not only the artist's future streaming royalties but also the actual legal trademark ownership of his professional rap name T.I. and his entire physical likeness if the artist engaged in any public behavior that resulted in an uninsurable public relations liability, such as a violent backstage security clash at a major televised network event. Do you really know what this means? He was not acting voluntarily or out of emotional tiredness when he made the startling, tearful announcement on video. The corporate matrix had practically stolen T.I.'s right to be himself, thus he was legally forced into early retirement rather than just choosing to give up on his musical career. The system had taken control of his 25-year history, commercialized his name, and utilized the prearranged fight at the BET Awards as the precise legal catalyst to permanently deprive him of his artistic identity. Prominent music accounts started releasing verified internal emails from major streaming networks, demonstrating that all upcoming automated catalog revenue streams for Grand Hustle had been manually redirected to an offshore corporate escrow account, as the social media landscape descended into a complete frenzy. The proudest and most self-reliant king in the history of Southern hip-hop had been methodically reduced to an employee of his own name, totally helpless as anonymous lawsuits in New York locked down his life's work. The underground music scene in Atlanta was instantly filled with rumors that T.I. was frantically pacing the floors of his private property, surrounded by street cops and expert legal counsel, searching for a way out before the corporate grab became irreversible. However, a terrifying counter-report surfaced just as the industry was getting ready to write his final obituary, suggesting that the Broken King was secretly preparing a devastating nuclear option that would drag the entire corporate structure down into the abyss with him, trapping the music industry on the brink of a terrifying standoff. The urban environment around the world has officially reached a complete condition of poisonous paralysis. The hip-hop community is now forever divided into two fiercely antagonistic groups due to the horrifying sight of a 25-year icon sobbing in public on camera before being methodically disabled by a cold corporate enforcement action. The digital public square did more than just respond. In a matter of hours, it severely overloaded social media server networks due to a completely chaotic meltdown. Now, millions of fans around the world are downloading every second of the emergency broadcast, engaging in heated online. A legendary Southern king's identity was manually erased by the system, thus we just witnessed him cry on a public video feed. The T. I am. Recognized as the ultimate creator of the contemporary Atlanta sound, and the elite syndicates pulled the structural trap when he refused to give up his iconic Grand Hustle masters. They legally stripped him of his real professional identity, suppressed his streaming algorithms, and denied him arena insurance based on an unconfirmed award show event. It is the most repulsive act of cowardice in hip-hop history for his longtime multi-platinum brothers to entirely turn off their phones and decline album features in order to safeguard their corporate distribution checks. The Matrix publicly liquidated his soul in addition to forcing him into retirement. In stark contrast to the pervasive cultural tragedy, T. I am. 50 Cent, a longtime rival on the internet, wasted no time in taking advantage of the viral trauma to increase online engagement. He uploaded a high-definition looping video of T and instantly launched an unrelenting cyber assault on his official pages. I am. An forceful commercial for his personal premium spirits lines was placed next to his emotional collapse. The caption said, "Damn, Cliff, you're crying on a live feed like a kid whose privileges were taken away by corporate parents. You can't play trap house rules in a billionaire boardroom chess game, as I've said 1,000 times. The corporate checks stop printing the moment you display weakness and begin crying on camera. Buy a bottle of my cognac to drown those tears of independence because this is a cold, clinical business, guy." Millions of users furiously debated whether the trolling was an unforgivable violation of cultural solidarity during an unparalleled industry crisis or pure comedy gold in the comment box beneath the post, which instantly turned into a vicious battleground. In the meantime, prominent media outlets and urban discourse forums are entirely divided in the middle. The abrupt collapse is being framed as a necessary, long overdue reality check for the genre by prominent cultural critics in their impassioned, hour-long video studies. They contend that an artist who purposefully surrounds themselves with a volatile street entourage that participates in violent backstage altercations cannot consistently claim institutional respect from Wall Street investors. They contend that the corporate consortium took all the necessary precautions to shield their multi-million-dollar assets from unforeseen responsibility. The entire Southern rap economy is on the verge of an unmitigated commercial apocalypse as major corporate brands officially engage in a complete freeze on all regional endorsement deals associated with the Grand Hustle name, as the intense public divide between Team Independent and Team Matrix reaches a terrifying peak. Just when everyone on the planet thought that T. I am. The story didn't simply change. It underwent a catastrophic inversion that has left the entire legal machinery of urban entertainment in a state of pure blind terror. He had been utterly crushed, stripped of his professional name, and forced out of the music industry forever. At precisely 3:45 a.m. M. On the official Grand Hustle Records website, a covert digital countdown timer was abruptly turned on, revealing a brilliant red clock that would count down to 48 hours from now. One horrifying line of plain text and a severely distorted audio track from T.I.'s private home studio network were posted straight to the landing page along with the clock. You can accept the name, but the reckoning will never end. Who the true victim and villain of this tragedy are has completely changed due to the startling reality of this counteroffensive. The bitter tears we witnessed running down T.I.'s face during that fateful live broadcast were not tears of mere submission or loss, according to high-level legal experts working deep within Atlanta's federal regulatory circuits. They were the powerful, overpowering emotional outburst of a man who knew he was going to set off the ultimate, catastrophic nuclear trigger on the whole matrix of the music industry. Less than an hour before T.I. sat down